Law 26. Keep your hands clean. To maintain power and avoid criticism, Greene advises keeping yourself above the fray. You must appear innocent and virtuous, while others do the dirty work for you. By having proxies take the fall for any underhanded dealings, you protect your reputation and maintain an untouchable image. A historical example is the Medici family of Florence, who maintained power through ruthless behind-the-scenes dealings while publicly maintaining a veneer of piety and virtue. They hired mercenaries to carry out their dirty work, ensuring that they remained untainted by scandal. In business, this law applies when navigating office politics or competitive industries where controversial decisions must be made. By delegating unpleasant tasks or controversial decisions to others, you maintain your reputation while ensuring that necessary actions are taken. In personal relationships, staying out of direct conflict and letting others take responsibility for disputes can help you preserve your image. Law 27. Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. Greene argues that to gain absolute power, you must exploit people's desire for a sense of meaning or belonging. By tapping into this need, you can build a devoted following that will support and defend you without question. This can be done by creating an aura of mystery around yourself, promising something larger than life, and offering a compelling vision or purpose. Greene draws on the example of Rasputin, who held sway over the Russian royal family by positioning himself as a mystical healer and prophet. By playing on their deep-seated beliefs, he ingrained himself within the court, wielding immense influence over the Tsar and his family. In modern settings, this law is often applied by charismatic leaders who build personal brands or movements around themselves, cultivating a loyal and fanatical following. In business or personal life, presenting yourself as a larger-than-life figure who offers something unique and promising can attract people to your cause. Once they're hooked, they will defend you and your ideas fiercely. Law 28. Enter action with boldness. Hesitation breeds weakness, according to Greene. Once you've committed to a course of action, execute it with boldness and decisiveness. Boldness inspires confidence, both in your allies and your opponents. If you appear confident and in control, others will follow your lead and be less likely to challenge you. Alexander the Great serves as a quintessential example of this law. His conquests were marked by bold, decisive action, and his audacity became a hallmark of his leadership style. His enemies were often paralyzed by his boldness, unsure of how to react, which allowed him to gain quick and overwhelming victories. In today's world, this law can apply to business decisions, public speaking, or leadership roles. Boldness, even in the face of uncertainty, projects confidence and decisiveness. In relationships, taking bold steps or making strong declarations can draw admiration and respect, as people are often attracted to those who seem sure of themselves. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. Greene emphasizes the importance of long-term planning, warning that power often slips away from those who are caught up in short-term thinking. To maintain power, you must think several steps ahead, considering all possible outcomes and how your actions today will affect your position tomorrow. Failure to do so can result in unanticipated setbacks or vulnerabilities. One historical example is Otto von Bismarck, the German statesman who masterminded the unification of Germany. Bismarck's long-term planning involved a series of wars and diplomatic maneuvers that ultimately culminated in the creation of the German Empire. His ability to see the bigger picture allowed him to outmaneuver his rivals. In modern terms, this law suggests that successful careers and business strategies depend on long-term planning. Focusing only on immediate gains can leave you vulnerable to future setbacks or missed opportunities. In personal relationships, thinking about the long-term impact of your words and actions helps you avoid unnecessary conflicts and build stronger, more sustainable connections. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. To appear powerful, Greene advises making your achievements seem effortless. People admire and are drawn to those who succeed without visible effort. The more you can hide the hard work and skill that goes into your achievements, the more others will perceive you as naturally gifted and powerful. Greene uses the example of Fred Astaire, the legendary dancer, whose performances appeared so effortless that audiences were entranced. Behind the scenes, however, Astaire put in countless hours of practice, ensuring that his routines appeared flawless and spontaneous. In modern life, this law applies to professional or social settings where you want to project an image of ease and mastery. Whether it's delivering a flawless presentation or maintaining a calm demeanor during crises, making things look easy enhances your reputation. In personal relationships, handling conflicts or challenges with apparent ease can make others view you as strong and dependable. Law 31. Control the options, get others to play with the cards you deal. The best way to control people, Greene argues, is to give them the illusion of choice. By controlling the options available to others, you can steer them toward a decision that benefits you while making them feel like they had control over the outcome. One example is how political leaders often present limited choices in a way that funnels the public toward a predetermined outcome. For instance, offering two seemingly opposing policies that both ultimately serve the leader's agenda. In a business context, this law can be applied in negotiations or sales, where you present limited options to your client or counterpart, all of which benefit you in some way. In relationships, giving someone the illusion of control while subtly guiding their decisions can help you maintain influence without appearing manipulative. Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. People are often driven by their fantasies and desires more than reality. Greene advises using this to your advantage by playing into the dreams and aspirations of others. Whether it's offering a vision of a better future or tapping into people's desires for success, wealth, or romance, appealing to fantasy can be a powerful tool for gaining influence. Historically, figures like Cleopatra mastered this law, presenting herself as the embodiment of people's fantasies about beauty, wealth, and power, which made her an irresistible force in both personal and political realms. In the modern world, this law is often seen in marketing, where companies sell dreams and lifestyles rather than just products. In personal relationships, appealing to someone's fantasies about success, adventure, or love can create a strong emotional connection that deepens your influence over them. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Everyone has a weakness or a vulnerability that can be exploited, and Greene calls this their thumbscrew. The key to power is identifying this weakness and using it to your advantage. This can be a secret desire, an insecurity, or a fear that drives their behavior. A classic example is how politicians or business leaders have been brought down by scandals that exploited their hidden vulnerabilities, such as personal indiscretions or financial improprieties. In today's world, this law applies to both professional and personal relationships. By understanding what drives someone, whether it's ambition, fear of failure, or a need for approval, you can leverage that information to influence their decisions and behavior. It's about understanding what makes people tick and using that knowledge strategically. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion, act like a king to be treated like one. Greene advises that to command respect, you must first act as if you are deserving of it. People are more likely to treat you as powerful if you project an image of confidence, dignity, and self-worth. By carrying yourself with a sense of authority, even if you are not yet in a position of power, you can influence how others perceive and treat you. Napoleon Bonaparte, even in his early military career, demanded respect by projecting an aura of command and authority. His confidence and self-assurance made him stand out, and others naturally began to treat him as a leader before he officially held the title. In modern life, this law can be applied by projecting confidence and self-assuredness in your career, social circles, or personal relationships. When you believe in your own worth and carry yourself accordingly, others are more likely to follow suit. Law 35. Master the art of timing. Robert Greene emphasizes the power of patience and timing, urging that success often hinges on waiting for the right moment to act. Acting too soon can lead to failure, while waiting too long can cause you to miss opportunities. The key is mastering the rhythms of life and learning to recognize when the right time to move has arrived. An example Greene uses is Julius Caesar, who famously crossed the Rubicon River at a decisive moment, changing the course of Roman history. His timing was impeccable. He acted when the opposition was weak, seizing the moment when hesitation would have led to disaster. In modern life, this law applies to business ventures, investments, or career moves where acting at the right time can mean the difference between success and failure. Similarly, in personal relationships or negotiations, knowing when to speak or act can shift the power dynamics in your favor. Timing your moves allows you to appear calculated and in control, making your efforts seem more powerful. Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have, ignoring them is the best revenge. Greene advocates that showing contempt or indifference toward things that frustrate you is a more powerful response than outwardly expressing anger or disappointment. If you allow something unattainable to preoccupy your mind, you give it power over you. The best revenge is to act as if it doesn't exist, showing that you are above its influence. Greene highlights how a person's obsession with things they cannot have often leads to self-destruction. The example of Marie Antoinette, who ignored the disdain of the French populace until it was too late, demonstrates how ignoring something can be taken to extremes. However, when used wisely, indifference can shield you from emotional turmoil and weaken the influence of your rivals. In everyday life, this law applies when dealing with difficult people or situations. By ignoring provocations, gossip, or unattainable goals, you maintain your sense of power and control. You avoid being consumed by negativity and show that you are unaffected by things that would otherwise disturb others. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. Greene advises that powerful people should focus not only on the message they deliver but on how it is presented. By creating grand spectacles, you can dazzle and mesmerize people, leaving a lasting impression. People are drawn to the visual and dramatic, and a compelling presentation can elevate your influence. Historically, leaders like Louis XIV of France understood the power of spectacle. He turned his palace at Versailles into a stage for political theater, where everything from lavish banquets to choreographed court rituals reinforced his power and grandeur. His carefully constructed spectacles made him appear as the embodiment of the French state. In the modern world, this law is especially relevant in marketing, public relations, and leadership. A well-executed product launch, public appearance, or event can leave a stronger impression than the substance of the message itself. In personal relationships or business, making an impact with style can often sway people more effectively than through mere words. Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. Greene warns that showing your uniqueness or radical opinions too openly can alienate you from others. While it's important to have your own ideas and individuality, outwardly expressing too much divergence from social norms can cause suspicion or resentment. To gain power, it's often wiser to blend in and conform outwardly while privately holding your own beliefs. Greene uses the example of Galileo, who publicly supported the geocentric views of the Catholic Church while privately pursuing heliocentric theories. By outwardly conforming, he avoided the Church's wrath, continuing his research without drawing dangerous attention to himself. In contemporary settings, this law applies to office culture, social circles, or public discourse, where voicing controversial opinions can be risky. By outwardly blending in, you avoid becoming a target while privately maintaining your individuality. In personal relationships, it's often beneficial to align with others' expectations outwardly while quietly pursuing your goals or ideas. Law 39. Stir up waters to catch fish. Greene advises that chaos and confusion can be powerful tools in gaining control over a situation. By intentionally creating turmoil, you can manipulate people who are unsure or off balance. In times of uncertainty, people look for strong leadership, and by being the calm amidst the storm, you can position yourself as the one in control. Historically, the Roman Emperor Constantine used this strategy to consolidate power. During times of political turmoil, Constantine exploited confusion and indecision among his rivals, solidifying his control by positioning himself as a stabilizing force. In modern life, this law can apply in negotiations, competitive business environments, or even personal conflicts. By stirring up confusion, you create an atmosphere where others are too distracted or disoriented to challenge you. Once the dust settles, you can take charge and guide the outcome to your advantage. Law 40. Despise the free lunch. Greene emphasizes that nothing in life comes free. Accepting gifts, favors, or offers without compensation can put you in a position of dependence or obligation. Instead of taking handouts, Greene advises maintaining your independence by paying your own way and being wary of generosity that comes with strings attached. A historical example is the European nobility, who often gave lavish gifts to one another. These gifts were not acts of generosity, but subtle power plays intended to bind the recipient in a web of obligation and loyalty. Accepting a free lunch often meant you owed the giver in some way. In the modern world, this law applies to business deals, personal favors, or even social relationships. Accepting too much generosity can leave you vulnerable to manipulation or indebtedness. Maintaining your independence allows you to operate from a position of strength, without being beholden to others. Law 41, avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. Greene warns that following in the footsteps of a powerful predecessor can be a dangerous trap. The successor is often judged by the standards of their predecessor, leading to inevitable comparisons and the weight of unmet expectations. To establish your own power, you must avoid being seen as a mere continuation of the past. Greene provides the example of Louis XV, who followed his legendary great-grandfather, Louis XIV, to the throne of France. Despite being king, Louis XV never emerged from the shadow of Louis XIV and was unable to live up to the grandeur and success of his predecessor. In business or personal life, this law suggests that taking over a leadership role from a highly successful figure can be fraught with challenges. It's important to differentiate yourself and create your own legacy, rather than trying to replicate the success of those who came before you. By forging a new path, you avoid the risk of comparison and judgment. Law 42, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Greene advises that when dealing with a group or organization, the key to controlling or dismantling it lies in targeting its leader or figurehead. If you remove or discredit the person in charge, the rest of the group will often collapse into disarray, making them easier to manipulate or control. This strategy was famously used by the Allies during World War II. By targeting key Nazi leaders and generals, they weakened the organization's command structure, causing confusion and disorganization within the ranks of the German military. In today's world, this law applies to dismantling cliques or power groups in social or professional settings. By targeting the key influencer or leader, you can disrupt the group's cohesion and weaken their collective power. In relationships or negotiations, focusing on the most influential person in the room can often lead to easier control of the entire group. Law 43, work on the hearts and minds of others. To truly gain influence over people, Greene suggests winning their hearts and minds. Coercion or force may bring temporary compliance, but lasting power comes from cultivating loyalty and affection. By appealing to people's emotions, desires, and beliefs, you can inspire a deeper connection and commitment to your cause. Greene uses the example of Chinese General Sun Tzu, whose strategy for winning wars relied on winning the hearts and minds of the enemy's population, not just defeating them militarily. By treating the conquered people well, Sun Tzu ensured. In modern life, this law can be applied in leadership, marketing, or personal relationships. Instead of focusing solely on rational arguments or forceful tactics, appeal to people's emotions and personal interests. By showing genuine care and understanding, you can foster deeper loyalty and create a stronger bond with others. Law 44, disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. Greene introduces the idea of using the mirror effect as a psychological strategy to disarm opponents. By mimicking their actions, attitudes, or behaviors, you can confuse and frustrate them. People are often disarmed when they see their own behavior reflected back at them, and it can lead them to feel off balance or uncertain. One example is how ancient Roman politicians used the mirror effect in debates by repeating their opponent's statements back to them, often making their arguments look ridiculous or contradictory. This tactic left their opponents flustered and unable to maintain their composure. In modern interactions, this law can be applied during negotiations, arguments, or social conflicts. By mirroring someone's tone or behavior, you can create a sense of rapport or disrupt their emotional state. This strategy often leads to the other person feeling off balance, allowing you to maintain control. Law 45. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. People resist change, especially if it happens too quickly or disrupts their routine. Greene advises that if you want to initiate reforms or introduce new ideas, you must do so gradually, without challenging people's need for stability. Radical changes often provoke backlash, but small, incremental shifts can lead to long-lasting transformation. Niccolò Machiavelli famously wrote that the reformer has enemies in all those who profit by the old order. Greene echoes this sentiment by explaining that even necessary reforms can create powerful enemies if not introduced carefully. In modern life, this law applies to leadership, workplace changes, or personal relationships where introducing too many changes at once can create resistance. By slowly introducing your ideas and giving people time to adjust, you ensure that the transition is smoother and more widely accepted. Law 46. Never appear too perfect. Greene argues that appearing too perfect can provoke envy and hostility from others. People are naturally drawn to vulnerability, and showing occasional flaws or mistakes can make you appear more relatable and less threatening. Striving for perfection often invites scrutiny, while embracing your humanity helps disarm potential rivals. Historically, the French Queen Marie Antoinette became a symbol of perfection and excess, which ultimately led to widespread resentment and contributed to her downfall during the French Revolution. Greene argues that had she shown more humility and relatability, her fate might have been different. In modern life, this law can be applied in social and professional settings where projecting an image of perfection can alienate others. By occasionally showing vulnerability or admitting to mistakes, you humanize yourself and reduce the likelihood of others feeling envious or hostile. Law 47. Do not go past the mark you aimed for. In victory, learn when to stop. Knowing when to stop is crucial in maintaining power, Greene argues. Many people make the mistake of overreaching, seeking more power or success than necessary, which often leads to their downfall. By learning to stop when you have achieved your goal, you avoid unnecessary risks and potential backlash. A historical example is Alexander the Great, whose endless pursuit of conquest led to the eventual collapse of his empire. Instead of consolidating his power, he continued to push for more, ultimately overextending himself and losing control. In the modern world, this law applies to career ambition, business deals, or personal goals where knowing when to stop is essential to maintaining stability. By recognizing when you have reached your desired outcome, you prevent the risks that come with overextending yourself. Law 48. Assume formlessness. In the final law, Greene advises that the ultimate power lies in adaptability and flexibility. To maintain power, you must be able to change with the times and adapt to new circumstances. Those who rigidly cling to one form, idea, or strategy will eventually be outmaneuvered by more flexible opponents. Greene uses the example of the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, who emphasized the power of water, which takes on the form of whatever container holds it but also has the strength to erode solid rock over time. By assuming formlessness, you become more difficult to predict or control. In modern life, this law is especially relevant in the fast-paced and ever-changing world of business, technology, and personal relationships. The ability to adapt, evolve, and embrace change ensures that you remain relevant and maintain your power, no matter the external circumstances. Conclusion: the timeless relevance of power. As we reach the conclusion of the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene, we are left with a deeper understanding of power dynamics that have shaped human behavior for centuries. Greene's work is not merely a manual for dominance or manipulation, but a reflection of the universal forces that govern relationships, leadership, and influence. Each of the 48 laws offers timeless wisdom, providing a roadmap for navigating a world where power is an inescapable reality. At its core, Greene's book reveals that power is neither inherently good nor bad, it simply exists. How we choose to wield it defines our character and our legacy. For some, the idea of power may evoke images of control and coercion, but Greene challenges us to think of it in more nuanced terms. Power can be about creating alliances, mastering the art of timing, understanding human psychology, and managing the delicate dance of ambition and restraint. One of the most compelling aspects of the 48 Laws of Power is its application across all walks of life. Whether in personal relationships, business, politics, or everyday interactions, Greene's principles are equally relevant. They remind us that we are all participants in the intricate web of social power, whether we realize it or not. Ignoring these dynamics does not protect us from them, it only leaves us vulnerable to the influence of others. Greene's laws are presented with a duality that makes them accessible and thought-provoking. Each law can serve as both a shield and a sword, protecting us from being exploited while empowering us to seize opportunities. By understanding the motivations and intentions of those around us, we gain the clarity to act strategically, rather than reactively. The lessons in this book do not encourage deception for its own sake, but rather highlight the importance of foresight, adaptability, and discretion. What makes the 48 Laws of Power so captivating is its blend of historical examples, philosophical musings, and psychological insights. Greene draws upon the successes and failures of figures from history, Napoleon, Machiavelli, Sun Tzu, and many others, demonstrating how these laws have played out in real-life scenarios. This mix of storytelling and strategy transforms what could be a cold, tactical guide into a compelling and thought-provoking exploration of human nature. Ultimately, the 48 Laws of Power invites us to reflect on how we approach power in our own lives. Do we wield it responsibly? Do we recognize when it's being used against us? The book offers no moral judgment, but it does provide us with tools to navigate the complexities of power with greater awareness and intention. As you close the pages of this book, consider the insights you've gained. Whether you aim to rise to the top of your field, strengthen your relationships, or simply become more adept at handling life's challenges, Greene's principles will continue to resonate. Mastering the laws of power is not about domination, it's about self-awareness, resilience, and the strategic pursuit of your goals. Read the book to learn more. If you are liking the series, please press the subscribe button. Thank you.